Chris here, and welcome to my channel. As you can kind of see by my setup, it's time to play Phase 10 chooses my TBR. So last month I completed Phase 10, so I'm going to be starting the board completely fresh, redoing all of the prompts, which is why I have all of my prompts out right here, and giving every single prompt that I have in my deck a opportunity to be put in a different place on the board. Because without going back and watching every single one of my videos to see which prompt I pulled, it is possible that I never pulled a prompt. Because I just never picked, say, a red 3 or a green 7 or something. And I didn't feel like going back and seeing if that was true, so I just decided to completely redo the board every time I complete all 10 phases. So we will be doing that today. Before we get into that, though, I have a bit of housekeeping to do, which is my nonfiction and my series I'm going to continue for the month. So first up, we'll start with my nonfiction choice, and I'm going to be reading the 1619 Project. And I have heard a lot of really interesting things about this, and I am very, very curious. I mean, it says right on here, it's a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. I am hoping that I learned something by reading this, and it is quite the interesting book to take on when I'm worried that Phase 10 will decide I need to read 27 books in the month of May, but hopefully I can get it on my TBR so that it at least counts for one of those prompts, and I am very curious and feel that this is in a slightly different vein than the other nonfictions that I've chosen so far, because I chose 2 autobiographies and then I chose 2 graphic novels, which, while about history, were graphic novels, so were much quicker and faster reads. So hopefully I will be able to get through this one without too much fuss. And now for my jar. So this has been updated as of today, and today is April 23rd. So any series I have started since the last time I updated the jar, between then and today, I have added into this jar. I have actually finished a few, or I'm on the verge of finishing a few, so if I pull any of those, they'll be able to come out. But let's see what we get. We're gonna go for this purple one back here. And then I'm gonna go all the way down to the bottom and grab this red one right here. And then we'll go in this area, and we're pulling a green one. So hopefully I will be able to fulfill all 3 of these. The first one up is Enola Holmes by Nancy Springer. Totally can do that. So I am on book 3 in the Enola Holmes series, which is The Case of the Bizarre Bouquet. And I am buddy reading this, so I planned to get it on my TBR anyways. In this series, we're following Enola Holmes, who is the younger sister of Sherlock Holmes. And I've enjoyed the first 2 books, and I'm looking forward to reading the third. I hope to be caught up by the time the newest book comes out in the series later this year. So that was a good first choice. My second series is Elemental by Bridget Kemmerer. Oh boy. So I started this series a long time ago, and I think, to be honest, if I'm going to reread it, I'm going to have to restart it. Which is fine, because it forces me to get back into the series. So the first book in this series is Storm, and like I said, I've already read it, but I don't remember all of the details, and I'd rather start the series over so that I can go into it with fresh eyes. I remember enjoying it when I read it, and I think the reason I stopped the series is because I did not have access to book 3 at the time, so I read the first 2, but then couldn't continue on with the series, and it's been so long that I really need to refresh my memory, so I will be reading Storm in the month of May. And my last book is Wingbearer by Marjorie Liu, and I don't believe the second book in this is out, because I literally just read the first. I was correct, the first book came out on March 1st, so the second book hasn't even been announced yet, but based on the way it ended and the way it's marked on Goodreads, it's definitely a series, which means I'm going to have to draw another prompt, and let's go with this orange one here. Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This one actually gets to stay out because I believe it's a duology. Yes, this is duology. The second book is Fly Away. I read the first book, gave it 5 stars, cried my eyes out like I've done with every Kristen Hanna I've read, and I am excited to finish off this duology. Even though I haven't heard great things about the second book, I'm still curious to read it, and my mom also enjoys reading Kristen Hanna, so she's not going to complain at all that I've taken a Kristen Hanna book out of the library. So those are going to be the 3 series that I continue in the month of May. So before we dive into this, I just want to mention that I am taking part in the next round of the final book support group hosted by Steph from Steph Loves. This is going to be a 2-week round, and there is even a bingo board, so I will be doing a separate TBR video for that, so keep your eyes on my channel for what I plan to read during those 2 weeks. I believe it runs May 2nd to May 16th, so that should be up on my channel shortly after this video goes live. Now, on to the game. So first things first, we have to get some prompts on the board, and like always, I will have no idea what they are. And we're mixing up this giant prompt pile. Though if you have any idea for prompts, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I am always looking for new and interesting prompts to challenge me to pick up different kinds of books. This would be easier if they were actual cards, but I think that's where we're going to go. So let's get the board set. Okay, so there we go. All of the prompts are up on the board, and I now have my prompt pile. I have my die should I need it. Let's give these a shuffle. My first phase is 2 sets of 3. And I will be back with you shortly to show you what I drew. So, as you can see, my board is now set up. I will be going for 2s and something because I got 3 wilds, and well, that is a place I like getting wilds. So we're off to a good start. That's 3 less wilds I can pull from my deck. Hopefully they will be the only wilds I pull today, because a nice quiet month would be very, very different. So let's dive in. Draw number 1 is a 3. I don't have any 3s, so it's definitely going over here. And the first prompt of the new round is under 500 ratings. So this means I have to pick a book that has under 500 ratings on Goodreads, and I'm going to be reading The Starlight Slippers by Susan Maupin-Schmid. This is the 3rd book in the 100 Dresses series, and also is one of the 2 books I got in the BookTube spin. This is a series where we follow Darling Dimple, and she has found a room full of dresses, and when she tries them on, they turn her into different people. I really enjoyed this series, and I'm excited to dive back into it because I think it might be a trilogy, so this might be the last one. Either way, it is the most recent book in the series, which means I would be caught up, so it would be a series I've either completed or caught up on, which is my goal. So this will be what I'm reading for under 500 ratings. Draw number 2 is a 2. Perfect. Okay, so I have to make a decision now because, well, I need my other set of 3, and whatever number I pick is the one I'm going to be stuck with. I think I am going to go with an 8. We're going with 8s. Hopefully that was the right choice. So I have my 2s and my 8s, which means I have to use one of these to go over there, and I'm going to go with a green 9. The prompt for green 9, please be kind to me, is Own Voices. So for Own Voices, I'm going to read The Stars Beneath Our Feet by David Barclay Moore. In this book, we're following a boy named Lolly who's been having a hard time since his older brother died and has really gotten into Legos. And he ends up working on a project so big it outgrows his apartment. There are dangers outside and older guys who harass him and his friend. And he wonders what his brother would do, get a crew and take revenge, or build a different kind of world for himself. So I was really taken in by this cover. This is a book I got out of a little free library, and I'm excited to read it. I want to know how Lolly deals with his grief and what he finds and gains out of the Legos and what he is building with the Legos. So this will be my pick for Own Voices for Phase 10 Choosing My TBR. Draw number 3 is a skip. I'll take it. Can never have too many of those. Draw number 3, part 2, is a 6. And the prompt for blue 6 is friend pick. So I believe what I'm going to do is send a picture of my shelves, all of my TBR shelves, to one of my best friends, and she will pick a book for me, and I will insert a picture of the book here. And that is what I will be reading this month. Hopefully she is kind to me. Draw number 4 is a blue 9. And the prompt for blue 9 is TBR Vet. So for this, I'm going to read Island of Glass by Nora Roberts. This is the 3rd and final book in the Guardians trilogy. I read the first book and part of the 2nd and then set them down and didn't pick them back up for ages, even though I owned all 3 of them, because usually what would happen is for Christmas or my birthday, once all 3 books in a trilogy were out, my mom would buy me the entire trilogy of Nora Roberts books. So I've had this since, let's see, when was this released? 2016. So this is definitely a TBR vet, and it will cross a series off of my list. So this is what I will be reading, and I'm excited to finally finish this series so I can stop have it looming above my head. Draw number 5 is a 3. And the prompt for red 3, food or drink on the cover. So for this, I'm going to be reading A Case of Cat and Mouse by Sophie Kelly, and we have a giant cake right here. This is, I want to say, like the 12th book in the Magical Cats Mystery series. In this series, we're following a librarian named Kathleen who solves mysteries with the help of 2 very special cats, Hercules and Owen. I really love this series, and I am excited to dive back into it. Draw number 6 is another skip. I'll take it, though I really don't want all of my skips in my first go round. Draw number 6, part 2, is a green 5. And the prompt for green 5 is thriller or mystery. So for this, I'm going to read my Buzzwordathon choice, Up to No Good, by Linda Riley. So the Buzzwordathon prompt for the month was direction, so north, south, east, west, up, down, left, right, and obviously I have the word up in the title. This is the first in a delicious new culinary cozy series featuring a grilled cheese eatery owner who must solve murders in her small town before she is put under lock and brie. So we're going to be following Carly Hale, who is pursuing her lifelong dream of opening a grilled cheese eatery after the death of her husband. After only 5 months, business is booming. Then Lyle Bagley, her one-time high school boyfriend and now town bully, bought the building next door and wants her out. After a monster of a fight, she's forced to put her nose to the rind and find a solution to keep her business afloat. That is until Lyle is discovered dead behind the dumpsters of Carly's shop and one of her employees becomes the prime suspect. In order to save her eatery and prove her friend's innocence, Carly must sleuth out the killer before she's the one who gets grilled. So, definitely a mystery novel, and it's perfect because it was on my TBR anyway, so Up to No Good is what I will be reading for thriller and mystery. Draw number 7 is an 8. Ooh, perfect. I'll take it. And I'm going to go with the green one. Hopefully it'll be nice. And the prompt for green 1 is classic. So for this, I'm going to read Anne of Avonlea by L.M. Montgomery. This is the second book in the Anne of Green Gables series. I really enjoyed Anne of Green Gables far more than I thought I would and decided I was going to continue on with the series. So with classic coming up, this seems like a no-brainer. It allows me to continue a series and read a classic. So hopefully I will enjoy book 2 as much as I enjoy book 1. Draw number 8 is a wild. Because of course it is. Wouldn't have it any other way. As if I could go an entire month without a wild. Draw number 8, part 2, is a 3. And the prompt for yellow 3 is longest book on my TBR. Okay, so I am tweaking this prompt, and I'm going to go with the longest book on the TBR that I had already picked out, because I know that the longest book on my physical TBR, like if I include all of the books that are currently owned by me, is like 1,000 pages, and I don't feel like reading a 1,000-page book in the month of May. And the longest book on the books I already planned to read or wanted to read or were part of like my spring covers or my 5-star prediction or anything like that is Lodestar by Shannon Messenger. This is the 5th book in the Keeper of the Lost City series, and it clocks in at 676 pages. That is still an extremely long book, and I'm counting it my game, my rules. I'm reading this for Keeper Along, which is hosted by Pris from Pris Peruses. I've been really enjoying my reread, so there was no way I wasn't reading this month anyways. And again, my game, my rules, this is what I'm reading for longest book on my TBR. Draw number 9 is a blue 12. And the prompt for blue 12 is disability rep. So for this, I'm going to read Fish in a Tree by Linda Mullally Hunt. And in this book, we're following a young girl named Allie who struggles to read and is afraid to ask for help, but her newest teacher sees the bright, creative kid beneath the troublemaker and helps to shine a light on her gifts. And in a blurb from Booklist, it says, offering hope to those who struggle academically and demonstrating that a disability does not equal stupidity. This is as unique as its heroine. So I'm going to assume we're seeing some kind of learning disability like dyslexia or something displayed in this book. So I am quite looking forward to checking this book out and hearing about Allie's story. And for the last of my regular draws, draw number 10, we have a red 5. And the prompt for red 5 is people on the cover. So for this, I'm going to read Wildwood Imperium by Colin Meloy. This is the 3rd and final book in the Wildwood Chronicles. As you can see, there's a person here, 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 definitely think that covers people on the cover. I've really enjoyed this series, I've been reading a book a month, so it's nice to kind of start a series and then kind of sort of binge it. So I look forward to finding out what happens with Prue and Curtis in this book and how the story wraps up. So now it is time to address this Wild. Please be kind. Please, please, please. And we got a 4. Not the one I was hoping for, but better than a 6. Wild 1, draw 1 is a green 7. And the prompt for green 7 is randomize your TBR. Not really what I wanted. How I'm going to do this is I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 bookcases that have books I need to read on them. So what I'm going to do is I've got a number generator here with the numbers 1 through 7. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to click generate. Well, let's try this again. I'm going to click generate. 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, yes, that is a shelf that only has 1 series I need to read on it. I have the books I need to continue with the books I've already read. It's like a shelf that has series I've already read on it, which means that there was only one option, and that is The Pilgrims of Rain by DJ McHale. This is book 8 in the Pendragon series. This is the book I'm up to in this series, so this is the only option I had for that particular shelf. I actually thought there were more on there. I double-checked, but there's not. So I guess I will be continuing the Pendragon series in the month of May. Lots of series continuations on my TBR this month. I'm enjoying it. Wild 1, draw 2 is a red, yellow 9. Yellow, that's yellow, Chris. Not red. I suppose as long as I pulled the right prompt, it wouldn't matter what color I said. But yellow 9. And the prompt is favorite trope. So for favorite trope, it's tricky. I have a few that I really like. And one is books with a strong friendship group. So I'm going to be reading Amelia Feng and the Lost Yeti Treasures. I don't know if that counts as a trope, but I count it as a trope because I love books that feature very different people kind of coming together with this friendship group, and this book definitely supplies that. This is the 5th book, I believe, in the Amelia Feng series. I was so excited when I realized my library had it because it meant I could continue on with the series, and they actually ordered the UK version because it says that it costs £6.99, so that would explain the sprayed edges. I am really excited to dive back into this series and see what adventures Amelia gets up to with her friends in this one. Wild 3, draw number 3 is an 8. Cool, cool. I'll take it. And I think I'll replace the 4. Save this 10 for last. And yellow 4 is perfect, nonfiction. There is really only one option for this. I will be reading the 1619 Project. This is the nonfiction I plan to read anyway, so it is the obvious choice for my nonfiction prompt. And for what is hopefully my final draw, unless this is a Wild 1, draw 4. Of course. Of course. We wouldn't have it any other way, would we? Wild 1, draw 2 is a 12. Oh, so close to being done, and yet so far away. And for this, I got Scribd. Okay, so for this, I'm going to choose Spark by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the 2nd book in the Elemental series by her. Since I'm already reading book 1, I figure why not smash out book 2, which is where I was at when I left off, so I can really catch up on the series and, you know, move on, get to the next book in the series. This seems like a good time to kind of start that ball rolling and maybe smash this series out in the near future, so I will be reading Spark. So, I actually just had a thought. I'm not going to read Spark for my Scribd because I'm going to read Storm. I didn't realize Storm wasn't already on my TBR. I was filling in my spreadsheet before I set up for Wild number 2, And I have decided that instead, I'm going to read Storm because it's not on my TBR and I can read it with the audiobook on Scribd. So Storm is actually going to be the book I use to fulfill the prompt of Scribd instead of Spark. Okay, so since life can't be easy and I drew a second wild on my final draw, it is time for Wild 2's roll. Again, please be kind. And I again got a 4. Because what I needed was an extra 8 books on my TBR this month. Goody. Wild 2 draw 1 is a 6. And the prompt for green 6 is new to me author. So for this, I'm going to go with The Mona Lisa Key by Liesl Shirtlift. This is one of my 5-star predictions, and I've never read anything by them. It is a middle grade sci-fi that involves time travel and a group of kids who end up in Paris in the year 1911. So hopefully I will enjoy this. I have high hopes for it, but I never know when it comes to sci-fi whether I'm going to love it or hate it. Wild 2 draw 2 is a 3. And because it's green, that means I've got a blue 3, a red 3, a yellow 3, and a green 3. I've hit all the 3s today. And the prompt for green 3 is title has the same number of words or letters as your name. So this means I need to choose a book that has either 4 letters in the title or 4 words in the title. So for this, I'm going to go with The Sword of Summer. 4 words, 4 letters in my name. This is the first book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series by Rick Riordan and is another 5-star prediction. I believe this has to do with Norse mythology, and I'm really excited to dive into it because I believe it is the only series of Rick Riordan's I haven't read yet. So definitely excited to dive into this, and hopefully I will love it as much as I love his other work. Wild 2 draw 3 is a 4. And the prompt for blue 4 is dad pick. So again, I will be picking 2 books that I want to read right now and 2 books that I don't particularly want to read right now, and my dad will get to pick. So my dad's 4 options will be The Case of the Bizarre Bouquet by Nancy Springer, which I obviously want to read because it's already on my TBR, because I'm buddy reading it and it's one of the series I pulled out of my TBR jar. Aurora Burning, which is the second book in the Aurora cycle, which is on my TBR because I'm reading it with Read Along Queens. And then the 2 I don't want to read, Now I Rise, which is the second book in this series and is part of my These Books Will Self-Destruct. And I enjoyed the first one, but not as much as I probably would have had I gone into it not thinking it was going to be fantastical, because this is a historical fiction fantasy, but the reason it is fantasy is because it is a retelling of history. So they've tweaked details about history, and that's where the fantasy comes in. It has nothing to do with magic or dragons or anything like that. So I went into the book expecting one thing and got something different, which is why it was so low. I didn't dislike the book, but it didn't leave me necessarily chomping at the bit to read the second one. So that's why it's on my These Books Will Self-Destruct list. And I figured it would be a good shout to give that to him as an option. And then also from my self-destruct list, I have Heartbreaker. This would be a reread for me, and it is, I want to say, romantic suspense. And I remember enjoying it when I read it, but my reading tastes have changed a lot, so it was on here because I wanted to see if it was something I was still interested in. So those will be my dad's 4 options. And for what I hope is my final draw, Wild 2 draw 4 is a 2. Oh, perfect! That means I've completed my phase, which means I get a skip or swap on top of the 2 skips I already had, and we'll be starting with a fresh board, well, at least this part fresh next month, and a whole new phase for me to complete. But the last prompt will have to be the green 10, because that's the only card I had left. So green 10 gives me Animal Main Character. Easy. That's an easy choice. I know exactly what I'm going to read for that, and that's River by Aaron Hunter. This is the first book in the 8th, I want to say, arc of 6 in the Warrior series. This is a 5-star prediction for me. If you followed my channel at all, you know I'm dying to get to this book, and I just... Perfect. Animal main character. This follows forest cats who live in clans, so obviously our main character is a cat. It will always be a cat. in this series, so this is what I'm reading for Animal Main Character. So that's it for this TBR. I have 18 books on it, which is 8 more than I wanted to be on my TBR. Yay. Hopefully I can get through them all so that I don't have any punishments next month. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me a cat emoji in honor of me being able to get my Warriors book on my TBR. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!